Imagine a woman so desperate from poverty that she tried to abort her fourth pregnancy by drinking warm beer and running to exhaustion. But even that didn't work. Imagine a tiny room in the poor neighborhood of Santo Antonio on the Portuguese island of Madeira, where six people huddled in one space, and the refrigerator rarely held anything but water and leftover bread from yesterday. Imagine a child born against his mother's will into a family where an alcoholic father earned pennies as a gardener, and his mother worked 12 hours as a cook and cleaner to feed her children. No one could have imagined then that this unplanned boy, born on February 5, 1985, would become one of the greatest footballers in history, whose name would be known to every person on the planet. Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro is a story of how absolute poverty and despair can become the foundation for an incredible transformation if a person has a dream, an indomitable will, and a desire to prove to the whole world that origin does not determine destiny. The story of the Aveiro family is a portrait of Portuguese poverty in the 1980s. Maria Dolores dos Santos Aveiro, born in 1954, was a simple woman with a kind heart and iron hands that knew only work. She got up before dawn to prepare breakfast at one of the local cafes, then mopped floors in other people's homes, and returned late in the evening when her children were already asleep. Her husband, José Diniz Aveiro, also worked tirelessly. During the day, he mowed grass in Funchal's municipal parks, and in the evenings, he worked part-time as a kit manager for the amateur football club Andorrinha, where he washed players' uniforms and looked after equipment. But his salary barely covered the essentials, and a hard life pushed him into the arms of the bottle. Alcohol became his way to forget the endless struggle for survival. When Maria learned she was pregnant with her fourth child, she despaired. Their tiny apartment barely accommodated 3 children, money was desperately short, and she couldn't imagine how they would cope with another mouth to feed. She tried to get rid of the pregnancy by any means available to her, but fate decided otherwise. The boy was born healthy, announcing his arrival to the world with a loud cry. The name Cristiano was suggested by his aunt on his mother's side. It was a classic Portuguese name, strong and noble. But the second name was chosen by his father, and the choice was unexpected. Ronaldo, in honor of Ronald Reagan, the 40th President of the United States, who was in power at the time and whom José admired while listening to the news on the radio. Thus, the boy from the poorest neighborhood of the Portuguese island received a name in honor of one of the world's most influential politicians, an irony of fate that would become symbolic decades later when Cristiano Ronaldo himself would turn into a global icon. Little Cristiano had older siblings: Hugo, born in 1975, Elma, born in 1974, and Liliana Katia, who was already 8 years old in 1985. All 4 children shared one room, slept on old mattresses, and their toys were anything they could find on the streets of Santo Antonio. Liliana Katia would later become a singer and perform in Portugal under the stage name Ronaldo, in honor of her famous younger brother. Cristiano's childhood passed on the narrow, steep streets of the mountainous Funchal district, the capital of Madeira, a town with a population of about 112,000 people, lost in the Atlantic Ocean, 900 kilometers from mainland Portugal. Santo Antonio was not the most prosperous area. Workers, the unemployed, people for whom every day was a struggle for a piece of bread lived here. But for the little boy, these streets became his first football field. Cristiano started playing football as soon as he learned to walk. At 2 or 3 years old, he was already chasing anything that could roll: tin cans, plastic bottles, and if he was lucky, a real ball that the older children allowed him to kick around. He was so obsessed with football that his godfather, Fernão Barros Sousa, who himself played for the local amateur club Andorrinha, noticed this indomitable fire in the boy's eyes. Cristiano didn't just play, he lived football. He fell asleep cuddling a ball. He dreamed of the game every second of his existence. At 6 years old, when other children were just beginning to learn the basics of the game, Cristiano already received an invitation to Andorrinha, the same club where his father worked as a kit manager. It was a small, modest place where amateurs and children from nearby neighborhoods played, but for Cristiano, it was the first step towards his dream. And here, something happened that forever remained in the legend of his biography. In the 1993-94 season, when he was only 8 years old, in a match against Camacha, with a score of 0-2 in favor of the opponent, Little Cristiano came on as a substitute in the second half. What happened next seemed impossible. The boy scored 2 goals in a row and helped Abelhinha achieve an incredible 3-2 victory. It was then that he got the nickname that would accompany his childhood, Abelhinha, which means little bee in Portuguese. The nickname perfectly described his playing style. He was everywhere at once, buzzing around the ball, giving defenders no peace, always moving, tireless, and persistent. But there was another meaning to the word. Little Cristiano often cried, from offense, from anger, from pain when bigger boys pushed him, from despair when he couldn't score. Tears flowed easily, but they never prevented him from getting up and continuing to play. His talent did not go unnoticed. Soon, 2 of the island's strongest clubs, Nacional and Marítimo, took notice of the young footballer. This was a serious choice for a 10-year-old child and his family. Cristiano's godfather coached Nacional's youth team and very much wanted to see his godson at the club where he could develop. His father, however, leaned towards Marítimo, considering it a more promising club. It was decided to arrange a meeting between representatives of both clubs with the president of Andorinha to discuss the terms of the transfer, but the Marítimo youth team coach simply failed to show up for the meeting. Such disregard decided the boy's fate. In the end, Cristiano moved to Nacional in exchange for 20 footballs and 2 sets of junior uniforms. That's how much the future 5-time Ballon d'Or winner cost at 10 years old. This transfer became the first step on the path that would lead the boy from the slums to the heights of world football, to fame, wealth, and recognition that his mother dared not even dream of when she tried to abort her pregnancy 40 years ago. 2 years at Nacional flew by for Cristiano like a rapid whirlwind of training, matches, and victories. He dominated the club's youth teams, scoring goal after goal, but on the small island of Madeira, his talent felt constrained. He needed a bigger stage, a real challenge, a platform where he could grow and develop. In the spring of 1997, when Cristiano had just turned 12, fate knocked on his family's door. One of Nacional's coaches recommended the boy for a trial at Sporting, the legendary Lisbon club, one of the 3 giants of Portuguese football, whose academy was renowned throughout Europe as a hotbed of talent. In April of that year, Cristiano, along with several other young players, went for a 3-day trial in the capital of Portugal, and what he showed on Sporting's training pitches exceeded all expectations. The coaches were so impressed by the speed, technique, and incredible passion of the 12-year-old boy that they invited the director of the youth academy, Aurelio Pereira, to watch him, and on April 17th, the final decision was made. Cristiano Ronaldo would become a Sporting player. The transfer proved beneficial for both sides. Nacional owed the Lisbon club 4.5 million Portuguese escudos, which was about 22.5 thousand euros, for the transfer of another young player named Franco, and Ronaldo's transfer allowed this debt to be completely written off. Thus, the future global star was valued at an amount barely enough for a used car. But the real test began at the end of August, when Cristiano finally moved to Lisbon, a city located 900 kilometers from his native Madeira, a city where he had no friends, no relatives, no familiar streets. Sporting housed the 12-year-old boy in a boarding school for out-of-town students at the academy, a huge building where dozens of other teenagers from different parts of Portugal lived, all dreaming of football glory, all hungry for success. For Cristiano, who had spent his entire life surrounded by family, this move was a real culture shock and emotional trauma. He missed his mother so much that he cried at night, burying his face in his pillow so his roommates wouldn't hear him. His Madeiran accent, sharp, with the characteristic islander intonations, instantly set him apart from his peers, and the boys from the capital didn't miss an opportunity to mock the country bumpkin from the island. They teased him, mimicked his speech, laughed at his clothes. The Ronaldo family couldn't afford expensive items, and his t-shirts and jeans were clearly not from Lisbon's fashionable boutiques. Cristiano felt like an outsider, lonely, lost in a huge city where no one knew what he had been through, at what cost his family earned every euro. To earn some pocket money and not ask for extra from his parents, he took a part-time job. On weekends, Cristiano was a ball boy at the main Sporting team's matches, running along the sidelines and returning balls that had gone out of bounds to the players. It was a modest job, but for him, it had immense significance. He saw real professionals up close, observed their movements, absorbed the atmosphere of big stadiums where the stands roared with excitement. Every time he retrieved a ball, he dreamed of the day when he himself would be on that field in the green and white sporting uniform, and thousands of fans would chant his name. This dream warmed him during the darkest moments of loneliness and bullying, but fate had a more serious test in store for him than the mockery of his peers. At 15, when Cristiano was already firmly established in the youth team and demonstrating phenomenal play, he began to experience strange symptoms: rapid heartbeat, dizziness after training, unexplained fatigue. A medical examination revealed a terrible diagnosis: tachycardia due to a congenital heart defect. For any footballer, this sounded like a death sentence, but for a 15-year-old boy who had left his family, endured bullying, and lived for football, it was tantamount to the end of the world. Doctors said that without surgical intervention, his career would end before it began. Cristiano agreed to the operation, and surgeons used a laser to repair the damaged part of his heart. The procedure was successful, and he was discharged from the hospital a few days later. But the most amazing thing was yet to come. The operation had no effect on his athletic performance. Moreover, Ronaldo returned to the field even hungrier for victories, even more obsessed with the idea of proving that he was stronger than any circumstances. At 16, Cristiano achieved something unprecedented in Sporting's history. He became the only player from the club to play for all youth teams, U16, U17, U18, and the reserve team, within a single season. This was an absolute record, a testament not just to talent, but to the player's incredible versatility and maturity. Sporting's management understood that they held a diamond that only needed polishing. In August 2001, when Ronaldo was 16 and a half years old, he signed his first professional 4-year contract with a salary of €2,000 per month, an amount that, by the standards of his impoverished family, seemed like a fortune. For the first time in his life, he could help his parents financially, and this filled his heart with pride. On August 18, 2002, 17-year-old Cristiano won his first professional trophy, the Portuguese Super Cup, although he did not participate in the match itself. But the real breakthrough came on October 7th of the same year, when he debuted in the Portuguese Championship in a match against Madeiran. What happened that evening went down in club history forever. Cristiano scored a brace, 2 goals, and helped Sporting secure a convincing 3-0 victory. At the age of 17 years, 8 months, and 2 days, he became the youngest goal scorer in Sporting's history. Football Europe began to turn its head towards the lanky Portuguese prodigy with incredible speed and dribbling technique. Then, Liverpool head coach Gerard Houllier scouted the young talent but deemed him too young and in need of more development time. A similar decision was made by Italian club Inter. Arsène Wenger, the legendary coach of London's Arsenal, went further. He sent Ronaldo a personal invitation to visit London. Spanish clubs Valencia and Atletico Madrid also showed interest, and Italian clubs Parma and Juventus sent concrete offers of over €10 million. By the end of the season, Cristiano played 25 league matches, 11 of which were in the starting lineup, scoring 3 league goals and 2 in the Portuguese Cup. In total, he played 31 matches for Sporting, scoring 5 goals and assisting 6. The boy from the Santo Antonio slums, whom his mother didn't want to give birth to, had transformed into Europe's most desirable young footballer, and his story was just beginning. The summer of 2003 was supposed to be a time of triumph for Sporting. The club was preparing to inaugurate its new Estadio José Alvalade, a jewel of Portuguese architecture, and for this event, one of the world's most decorated clubs was invited, Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United. The friendly match on August 6, 2003 was meant to be a celebration of football, but no one expected it to change the fate of an 18-year-old winger and the entire English Premier League. That evening, Cristiano Ronaldo put on a real show in front of the astonished English. His speed, dribbling, feints, and incredible technique turned experienced United defenders into helpless bystanders. Sporting routed the illustrious guest 3-1, and the lanky Portuguese with the number 28 on his back was unequivocally the star of the match. After the final whistle, Manchester United players literally mobbed Ferguson in the locker room with a single plea. "Boss, you have to buy this guy. Immediately." Rio Ferdinand, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, legends of English football, unanimously insisted that they hadn't seen such talent in many years. Ferguson didn't need convincing. He himself understood that he was looking at a future superstar, and there was no time to delay. Negotiations with Sporting took only a few days. Many showed interest in Ronaldo. Arsène Wenger's Arsenal, which even sent a personal invitation to the young Portuguese to visit London. Barcelona, where President Joan Laporta dreamed of creating a new Galactic team. Liverpool, Juventus, Valencia, and Inter. But Ferguson acted decisively and quickly. On August 12, 2003, Manchester United announced the signing of Cristiano Ronaldo for £12.24 million, which at the time was a record sum for a teenage player and the most expensive transfer in the club's history. The Portuguese's salary was about €2 million per year, a figure that took the breath away from a 17-year-old boy from the impoverished slums of Madeiran. But the most unexpected thing was another detail. Cristiano asked for the modest number 28, which he wore at Sporting, fearing the pressure and attention associated with Manchester United's legendary 7. This number had been worn by the club's greatest players, George Best, Brian Robson, Eric Cantona, and the recently departed David Beckham, whose boots still smelled of Old Trafford grass. Ferguson didn't listen to objections. "You will wear number 7. I believe in you, and you will handle this burden." Thus, an 18-year-old boy received a jersey that weighed more than one could imagine. His debut took place on August 16, 2003, in the first round of the English Premier League against Bolton Wanderers at the legendary Old Trafford. In the 61st minute, Ferguson brought Ronaldo on as a substitute for Nicky Butt, and what happened next went down in club history forever. Every touch of the ball by Cristiano elicited an enthusiastic roar from the 67,000-strong crowd. He performed incredible feints, went past 2 or 3 defenders, his step-overs, circular movements of his foot over the ball, caused opponents to lose their balance and fall. In the 76th minute, he broke into Bolton's penalty area, and defender Kevin Nolan, unable to withstand the pressure, brought him down from behind. A penalty. The stadium erupted in applause. Just 15 minutes on the field, and the young Portuguese had already earned a penalty. The match ended in a convincing 4-0 victory, and Ronaldo became the main hero of the evening, although he didn't score. The next day, the press called his debut phenomenal, electrifying, the beginning of a new era. Cristiano scored his first goal for Manchester United on November 1, 2003, and that was just the beginning of a long and thorny path to greatness. His first 2 seasons in England were a real school of survival for Ronaldo. The English Premier League was famous for its physicality. Here, defenders didn't hold back against skillful wingers. Every tackle was tough, every challenge uncompromising. Cristiano often fell, he was knocked down repeatedly, and he cried from pain and resentment, just like in his childhood on the streets of Funchal. Critics accused him of excessive dribbling without result, of diving, of selfishness, saying he made 10 feints where a simple pass was needed. Ferguson, however, saw in him what others didn't. An incredible thirst for improvement, a willingness to work harder than anyone, a desire to be the best. The legendary Scot took the young Portuguese under his wing, patiently explaining when to pass and when to dribble, how to conserve energy, how to read the game. Other mentors were also there. Ryan Giggs, the Welsh maestro, showed him how to stay at the top for a long time. Paul Scholes taught him field vision. Even Dutch sniper Ruud van Nistelrooy initially helped his young teammate. But his relationship with Van Nistelrooy tragically deteriorated in 2006. After Cristiano's father died of alcoholism in 2005, the young Portuguese was morally devastated, and assistant coach Carlos Queiroz, his compatriot, became his moral support. During one training session, Van Nistelrooy, in a fit of anger, snapped at Ronaldo. "You found yourself a new daddy after your father died of drinking?" These words crossed all boundaries. Ferguson, upon learning of the incident, immediately expelled the Dutchman from the club. No one had the right to humiliate his protege in such a way. From that moment, Ronaldo received even more support and trust, and it bore fruit. By the 2006-07 season, he had transformed from a talented dribbler into a ruthless goal-scoring machine, and in the 2007-08 season, he reached incredible heights. 42 goals in all competitions, a treble with United, the English Championship, the Champions League, and the Club World Cup, and the pinnacle of glory. His first Ballon d'Or at the age of 23. In 6 years at Manchester United, Cristiano played 292 matches, scored 118 goals, won 3 English championships, 1 Champions League, and transformed from a boy into a man, from a talent into a legend. But the world of football had a new, even more grandiose challenge in store for him. The decision was made in the spring of 2009, when Manchester United faced Pep Guardiola's Barcelona in the Champions League final and suffered a 0-2 defeat. Cristiano was the only English player who didn't lose that match. He shot from long range and from set pieces, ran towards the goal at hyperspeed, found moments in the penalty area, but his team didn't support him. When the final whistle blew at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome, Ronaldo received an SMS from Florentino Perez, who was running for Real Madrid president. "Do you want to win the Champions League?" These 4 words initiated what was then the most expensive transfer in football history. Real Madrid had been chasing Cristiano since 2007, when he first won the English Championship. The then-club president Ramon Calderón dreamed of the Portuguese, but Ferguson flatly refused to sell his star. In the summer of 2008, after United won the Champions League, Real again tried to lure Ronaldo, and Ferguson was so enraged by the Madrid club's actions that he filed a complaint with FIFA for illegal contact attempts with the player. On August 6, 2008, the Portuguese publicly announced that he would remain in Manchester for at least 1 more season, but internally he already understood that his future was in the white jersey of Real Madrid. On June 11, 2009, Manchester United announced that they had accepted Real Madrid's offer to sell Cristiano Ronaldo for a record sum of £80 million, which amounted to about €94 million. This figure broke the absolute transfer record of Zinedine Zidane, which had stood for 8 years. The final agreement was signed on June 26, and 24-year-old Cristiano became the most expensive footballer in the history of world sports. The contract was set until 2015, with a salary of €11 million per year, and the agreement included an astronomical buyout clause of €1 billion, so that no one would even think of poaching the Portuguese. Ferguson, bidding farewell to his protégé, told journalists that he had fully agreed to the transfer and understood Ronaldo's desire to try himself in another league, and Cristiano himself, with tears in his eyes, thanked the Scottish coach. "He was my father in a sporting sense, one of the most important and most defining factors that influenced my career." On July 6, 2009, Madrid's Santiago Bernabéu Stadium transformed into a grand spectacle. Cristiano Ronaldo's presentation was attended by about 80,000 fans eager to see their new hero. Portuguese football legends Eusébio and Alfredo Di Stefano were personally present at the ceremony, blessing the young compatriot for great achievements. But there was one nuance that surprised everyone. Instead of the familiar 7, under which Ronaldo had gained fame in Manchester, he received the number 9. The 7th was already worn by Real Madrid's captain Raúl González, a club legend, and no one dared to take that number from him. Cristiano accepted this with understanding, although the number 9 was typically for a central forward, and he still saw himself as a winger. He played his first match in a Real Madrid uniform on July 20th during pre-season against Irish club Shamrock Rovers, and his official debut took place on August 29, 2009, in an away match against Deportivo, which ended in a 3-2 victory, and Ronaldo immediately scored his first goal. Madrid fell in love with the new Galactico from the first touch. His first season in the Spanish capital was a period of adaptation for Cristiano to a new league, a new style, new demands. La Liga differed from the English Premier League. Here, there was less physical struggle but more technical skill. Here, defenders read the game differently. Here, every club played football rather than just defending. And here there was him, Lionel Messi, the Argentine genius of Barcelona, who had just taken the title of the world's best player from Ronaldo. The great rivalry between the 2 greatest footballers of the era began. a duel that would define the next decade of world football. Personal life also underwent changes. In the summer of 2010, Cristiano's first son was born, whom he named after himself, Cristiano Jr. The mother's identity remained unknown. The child was born via surrogacy, and Ronaldo gained full custody of his son, never revealing who the biological mother was. Fatherhood changed his outlook on life. Now he played not only for fame, but also for that little boy who looked at him with huge eyes full of admiration. By the 2010-11 season, Raúl González, the Real Madrid legend, had left the club, and Cristiano finally got his desired 7. The number under which he became famous in Manchester, the number that became his second skin. Along with the number came a new coach, José Mourinho, a Portuguese specialist with incredible charisma and ambition, who dreamed of crushing the hegemony of Guardiola's Barcelona. Mourinho saw Ronaldo not just as a player, but as a weapon of mass destruction, and although he didn't always use him as a central forward, he gave the Portuguese complete creative freedom on the left wing. The 2010-11 season brought his first team trophy in Spain, the Copa del Rey, where Cristiano scored the decisive header in extra time against Barcelona in the final. But the real breakthrough happened the following season. 2011-12 was phenomenal. Ronaldo scored 60 goals in all competitions, which was an absolute career record for him at the time. He scored his 100th goal for Real Madrid at the sacred Camp Nou in the Spanish Super Cup match. Symbolically, the anniversary goal came in a match against the main rival. At the end of the season, Real Madrid won the Spanish championship for the first time in 4 years, earning a record 100 points for La Liga, an incredible achievement that showed Mourinho's team could challenge Barcelona. The next 2 years became a period of consolidating forces and personal records. In the 2013-14 season, under the guidance of Italian maestro Carlo Ancelotti, Real Madrid finally won what Florentino Perez had bought Ronaldo for 5 years earlier, La Decima, the 10th Champions League trophy, which the club had waited 12 agonizing years for. Cristiano scored 17 goals in that tournament, a record that seemed unreachable. In the final against Madrid's Atletico at the Estadio da Luz in Lisbon, his home country of Portugal, Ronaldo scored the decisive penalty and added another goal in extra time, securing a 4-1 victory. This was a triumph not only for the team, but also a personal triumph for a man who had come from the Madeiran slums to the pinnacle of European football. In the winter of the same year, he received his second consecutive Ballon d'Or, confirming his status as the best player on the planet. The 2014-15 season brought a new personal record, 61 goals in all competitions. On April 5, 2015, something incredible happened. In a match against Granada, Cristiano scored 5 goals, 3 of which flew into the net in 8 minutes. It was a real beating, ending in a 9-1 rout. 3 days later, he scored his 300th goal for Real Madrid, and in May, with a hat-trick against Espanyol, he surpassed the legendary Alfredo Di Stefano in the club's goal-scoring list. In September 2015, he finally became the top scorer in Real Madrid's history, surpassing Raúl González, his idol and predecessor with the number 7. Every goal Cristiano scored became history, every match a new chapter in the record books. By the start of the 2015-16 season, he had reached the mark of 500 career goals, including for the national team, and then surpassed 324 goals for Real Madrid in all competitions, becoming the absolute leader. The summer of 2016 gave Cristiano the moment he had waited for his entire life: triumph with the Portuguese national team at the European Championship in France. In the final against the tournament hosts, he suffered an injury in the first half and was forced to leave the field in tears, but his teammates didn't let him down. Portugal won 1-0 in extra time. Ronaldo, standing on crutches at the edge of the field, shouted instructions to the players, transforming from a player into a coach, and when the final whistle blew, he cried with happiness. Finally, his homeland had won the main trophy. His return to Real Madrid marked the beginning of Zinedine Zidane's era, the French maestro, who as a player was himself a legend of the Madrid club. Under Zidane's leadership, Real Madrid achieved the incredible: 3 consecutive Champions League titles in the 2015-16, 2016-17, and 2017-18 seasons, an achievement no one had managed in the tournament's modern history. Cristiano scored 2 goals in the 2017 final against Juventus, including a phenomenal bicycle kick that made even the Turin club's fans stand up and applaud. His personal life also underwent a transformation. In June 2017, Cristiano became the father of twins, Ava and Matteo, via surrogacy, 2 beautiful babies who doubled his parental joys. But the main event happened a little earlier, in 2016, when he met Georgina Rodriguez, a young Spanish woman who worked as a sales assistant at a Gucci boutique in Madrid. Their meeting was like a fairy tale. A global superstar and a simple girl from a humble family who never dreamed of becoming the partner of one of the planet's most famous people. In November 2017, the couple had a daughter, Alana Martina, their first child together with Georgina, who became a full-fledged mother to all of Cristiano's children. In 9 years at Real Madrid, Ronaldo played 438 matches and scored an incredible 451 goals, more than a goal per game, a statistic that seems impossible. He won 16 trophies, including 4 Champions League titles, 2 Spanish championships, and many other titles. But by the summer of 2018, his relationship with the club management began to sour due to tax investigations and contract disputes, and Cristiano made a decision that shocked the football world. On July 10, 2018, the football world froze in astonishment. Cristiano Ronaldo signed a 4-year contract with Turin's Juventus for a record €112 million, the largest sum in history for a player over 30, and an absolute record for Italian football. The official version stated that the decision to transfer was made at the request of the player himself, who was seeking new challenges after 9 incredible years in Madrid. But the truth was more complex. Cristiano felt that Real Madrid president Florentino Perez had not given him enough support in the tax disputes with Spanish authorities, although Perez himself categorically denied this, claiming that we never discussed his tax debts. Another reason was the salary issue. Ronaldo earned significantly less than Messi at Barcelona, whose salary exceeded €70 million per year. My cycle was closed. I needed another motivation, the Portuguese later explained. When he made the decision and gave his word to Juventus, there was no turning back. The president tried to get me back, but it was too late. In a farewell letter to the fans, Cristiano wrote, "These were 9 absolutely wonderful years, unique. I felt valued, but it was also difficult because Real Madrid is a club of the highest demands. I understand that I will never be able to forget how I enjoyed football in a unique way." In Turin, the 33-year-old Portuguese had one main task: to bring Juventus what the club had failed to achieve for 23 years, the Champions League trophy. The old lady had lost 7 finals of the main European tournament since 1996, and Ronaldo's arrival was supposed to change this cursed statistic. In the Italian championship, everything was going perfectly. 2 consecutive scudetti in the 2018-19 and 2019-20 seasons. The Coppa Italia in 2020-21. In 3 years in the black and white striped jersey, Cristiano played 134 matches, scored 101 goals, and provided 28 assists. Outstanding statistics, but insufficient to achieve the main goal. In the Champions League, Juventus suffered disappointment after disappointment. Elimination by Amsterdam's Ajax in the 2019 quarterfinals, defeat by French club Lyon in the 2020 round of 16, a shameful home fiasco against Portuguese club Porto in March 2021. Each defeat was perceived as a personal failure for Ronaldo, although the problems were with the team as a whole. Relationships with coaches were difficult. Neither Massimiliano Allegri, nor Maurizio Sarri, nor Andrea Pirlo could find the key that would open the door to European glory. By the summer of 2021, it became clear that the Italian adventure was coming to an end. On August 27th, the football world received sensational news. Cristiano Ronaldo was returning to Manchester United, the club that had once made him a world-class star. The transfer cost the English just £15 million plus £8 million in bonuses, a ridiculous sum for a player of his caliber. His debut on September 11th against Newcastle turned into a triumphant return for the King. At 36 years old, Cristiano scored a hat-trick and proved to skeptics that he could still tear apart Premier League defenses. But the euphoria didn't last long. The season turned into a nightmare. The team played terribly. Legendary Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was fired, replaced by German interim manager Ralf Rangnick, who couldn't change anything. And in the summer of 2022, Erik ten Hag arrived, a Dutch coach with iron discipline who was not going to make exceptions even for Ronaldo. But football failures paled in comparison to a personal tragedy. In April 2022, Cristiano and Georgina were expecting twins, a boy and a girl. Complications arose during childbirth. The boy, whom they named Angel, died at birth. Only the girl, Bella Esmeralda, survived. It is with our deepest sadness we have to announce that our baby boy has passed away. It is the greatest pain that any parents can feel, Cristiano wrote on Instagram, and the entire football world mourned. Liverpool fans stood and applauded in memory of the baby in the 7th minute of the match against United, Ronaldo's number 7. This tragedy would have broken anyone, but the Portuguese continued to play, finding strength in his remaining children and Georgina's support. His relationship with Ten Hag worsened. Conflicts in training, dissatisfaction with a lack of playing time, public disagreements, all led to a point of no return. In November 2022, Cristiano gave a scandalous interview to British journalist Piers Morgan, where he harshly criticized the club, management, and coach. "They betrayed me. They are trying to force me out of the club." These words were the last straw. On November 22, 2022, Manchester United announced the termination of Ronaldo's contract by mutual agreement. At 37 years old, one of the greatest footballers in history was left without a club, and few European giants were willing to risk signing an aging star. But fate had an unexpected turn in store for him. On December 30, 2022, as most of Europe prepared to celebrate the new year, Saudi club Al Nassr from Riyadh announced the signing of Cristiano Ronaldo, a deal that shocked the football world and sparked a wave of criticism. The 37-year-old Portuguese, fresh from a humiliating departure from Manchester United and the tragedy of losing his son, accepted an offer that was impossible to refuse: 200 million euros per year, including advertising contracts and a role as an ambassador for Saudi Arabia, the most expensive contract in football history. Officially, the club stated a salary of 70 million euros per season, but the real sum, including sponsorship obligations and promotional activities to promote the country, was almost 3 times higher. By 2024, Cristiano became the highest-paid footballer on the planet with a total income of $260 million, leaving Messi from Inter Miami, $135 million, Neymar from Al Hilal, $133 million, Benzema from Al Ittihad, $116 million, and Mbappé from Real Madrid, $110 million far behind. Interestingly, Al Hilal, Al Nassr's main competitor, originally wanted the Portuguese but couldn't due to a transfer ban imposed for the illegal signing of Saudi midfielder Mohamed Kano. Fate decreed that Ronaldo would end up in the yellow and blue jersey of the Knights of Najd. Critics immediately attacked the Portuguese with accusations: twilight of his career, sold out for money, betrayed European football, retirement league. But Cristiano never paid attention to skeptics. He could only make his debut for his new club on January 22, 2023, in a match against Al Ettifaq. He had to miss the 2 preceding matches due to a suspension received in England for an incident with a fan. In his first half season of 2022-23, he scored 14 goals in 19 matches, quickly adapting to the heat of the Persian Gulf and the unfamiliar style of local football. In the summer of 2023, Ronaldo won his first trophy in Saudi Arabia, the Arab Club Champions Cup, scoring a brace in the final against arch-rival Al Hilal. It was a sweet victory, the first step towards conquering Arabian hearts. The 2023-24 season was phenomenal from a personal point of view. Cristiano scored 44 goals in 45 matches, becoming the top scorer in the Saudi Pro League with 35 accurate shots, a new league record, breaking the previous achievement of 34 goals. He outran defenders who were 15 years younger than him, scored from free kicks, headed goals, converted penalties, and demonstrated dribbling that drove fans wild. In the current 2024-25 season, his scoring rate remains at a cosmic level. 33 goals in 39 matches across all competitions, again leading the league's scoring race. 2 goals ahead of legendary Karim Benzema from Al Ittihad and Moroccan Abderrazak Hamdallah. However, 7 of Ronaldo's 23 league goals were from penalties, but even without them, his statistics are impressive. By October 2025, the Portuguese's overall statistics for Al Nassr reached 105 goals in 118 matches, more than a goal per game even at 39 years old. He is approaching the legendary mark of 1,000 career goals. Currently, he has 934 goals. But there were also disappointments. Despite individual achievements, Al Nassr failed to win the national championship in any of the 3 seasons with Ronaldo. The team consistently finished second or third, trailing Al Hilal or Al Ittihad. There was also no success in the AFC Champions League. Cristiano's main dream of bringing the club a continental trophy remains unfulfilled. Relations with Italian coach Stefano Pioli, who came from Milan, deteriorated by the end of the 2024-25 season due to a breakdown in their relationship and disappointing results. The only joy was the first victory over arch-rival Al Hilal with a score of 3-1 in April 2025, where Ronaldo scored a brace and wrote on social media after the match, "Riyadh is yellow and blue." The Portuguese's contract expires at the end of June 2025, and negotiations for a 1+1 extension with a salary of €183 million per season and 5% of the club's shares are on hold. Both sides are uncertain about the future. The Ronaldo family has fully relocated to Riyadh. Georgina and their 6 children, including the memory of the angel Angel, live in a luxurious villa, adapting to life in the Arab kingdom. Cristiano has become not just a footballer, but also the face of the country, an ambassador for Saudi sports, attracting attention to Saudi Arabia, which dreams of hosting the 2030 World Cup. His regimen at 39 years old remains ironclad. Training takes 11 hours of activity per day, thanks to which his biological age is only 28.9 years, a fantastic indicator. He continues to play for the Portuguese national team, dreaming of adding new achievements to his 143 goals for the national team. Cristiano's Arabian adventure is not the end of his career, but a new chapter in the story of a man who never gives up. Behind all the goals, trophies, and records stands a man for whom family has always been a sacred value. Georgina Rodriguez, the woman who changed Cristiano's life, met him in 2016 under circumstances worthy of a Hollywood movie. She worked as a sales assistant at a Gucci boutique in Madrid, earning modest money and dreaming of a better life, when one evening, the most famous footballer on the planet walked into the store. Their eyes met, and Cristiano felt something he hadn't experienced before, not admiration for beauty, but a real connection with a person who saw in him not a superstar, but just a man. "When I saw him, my knees trembled," Georgina later confessed in an interview. For a girl from a humble family born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and raised in the Spanish town of Jaca, meeting Ronaldo was the beginning of a fairy tale. They started dating secretly, avoiding paparazzi, and then their relationship became public, and the world saw that Cristiano had a woman by his side who truly loved him, not his fame. In August 2025, after 9 years of relationship and 5 shared children, including the deceased Angel, Cristiano finally proposed to Georgina. She announced it on Instagram, where she has over 60 million followers, calling herself Mama to 6 blessings, including the memory of little Angel, who will forever remain in their hearts. Today, Georgina is not just the footballer's partner. She is a full-fledged mother to all of Cristiano's children. 14-year-old Cristiano Jr., born in 2010 via surrogacy. 8-year-old twins Eva and Matteo, born in June 2017. 7-year-old Alana Martina, their first daughter together with Georgina, born in November 2017. And 3-year-old Bella Esmeralda, who miraculously survived childbirth in April 2022 when her twin brother Angel died. Georgina raises all the children with equal love and care, and Cristiano has said more than once that she is the best thing that has happened to him after football. The Ronaldo family's life in Riyadh is organized with absolute luxury, yet with great care for the children's comfort. In the summer of 2025, when Cristiano extended his contract with Al Nassr until 2027, the details of the agreement shocked even seasoned agents. 180 to 200 million euros per year, including salary, image rights, and marketing revenues. 15% of the club's shares worth approximately £33 million, a signing bonus of £24.5 million, increasing to £38 million upon fulfilling the conditions of the second year of the contract. But the most astonishing detail was a personal staff of 16 employees, 3 drivers, 4 maids, 2 personal chefs, 3 gardeners, and 4 security guards. This staff serves not only Cristiano himself but his entire family, creating an atmosphere of safety and comfort in a home where young children are growing up. Georgina, despite having such an army of helpers, still personally takes care of the children, prepares their breakfasts, reads them bedtime stories, takes them to training sessions and school events. Raising children for Cristiano is not just a duty, but the meaning of his existence. He wants them to grow up hardworking and not spoiled, despite the billions in the family budget. Cristiano Jr. is seriously involved in football and dreams of following in his father's footsteps. He already plays for Al Nassr's youth academy and shows good potential. His father doesn't pressure his son, understanding that the path of a professional footballer requires not only talent, but also incredible dedication. "My children reflect my character traits. They always strive to win, to be the best," Ronaldo says with pride. Georgina regularly shares moments of family happiness on Instagram. Birthdays with huge cakes, family dinners, trips to their father's matches, where the children sit in the stands wearing jerseys with "Papa" written on them. For Cristiano Jr.'s 14th birthday, his mother gave him a Louis Vuitton bag, and his father gave him a Rolex watch, but the most valuable gift was the time spent together as a family. On social media, Cristiano is a true influence monster. 648 million followers on Instagram make him the most popular person on the planet. Each of his posts gathers tens of millions of likes, and sponsored posts bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars. But in addition to advertising brands, he shares personal moments. Training with his son, hugs with his daughters, romantic dinners with Georgina. The family often travels by private jet, which is part of his contract package with Al Nassr, $5.08 million for aviation, visiting Portugal, Spain, Italy, places where different stages of Cristiano's career took place. His native Madeira remains a special place. There is a CR7 museum, where all the legend's trophies and memorabilia are collected, and where he takes his children, showing them where his journey began. Cristiano's mother, Dolores, who once tried to abort her pregnancy due to poverty, now lives in a luxurious villa bought by her son, and is the most devoted grandmother to her 6 grandchildren. The story of the Ronaldo family is a story of how love, hard work, and belief in a dream can change the fate not only of one person, but of entire generations. Cristiano's secret to longevity at the pinnacle of football lies not in talent. There are thousands of talented footballers, and most of them retire by 35. The secret lies in incredible, bordering on obsessive, discipline that has transformed his body into a perfectly tuned machine. At 39 years old, when most of his peers have long hung up their boots, Cristiano demonstrates a physical form that 20-year-olds can only dream of. Medical examinations have shown a shocking result. His biological age is only 28.9 years, 10 years younger than his passport age. This is not magic or genetics. It is the result of 25 years of fanatical self-improvement, where every day is scheduled down to the minute, every meal is precisely planned, every training session is performed to absolute exhaustion. Good training must be combined with a good diet, Ronaldo repeats like a mantra, and these words define his entire philosophy. Cristiano's typical training day begins at 7 in the morning with a light breakfast, whole grain toast with avocado, freshly squeezed orange juice, yogurt with fruit. An hour later, the first training session with the Al Nassr team, which lasts 2 to 3 hours and includes ball work, tactical drills, sprints, and endurance exercises. But that's just the beginning. After lunch, Cristiano goes to his personal gym, equipped with the latest technology, where he spends another hour and a half to 2 hours working on strength, speed, and balance. Cardio workouts alternate with strength training, treadmill running, rowing, high-intensity interval sprints to develop explosive speed. Weights are used to maintain muscle mass, but without overbuilding. Ronaldo needs the functional strength of a footballer, not a bodybuilder. Stretching and yoga take at least 30 minutes daily. Flexibility is as important as strength. In total, he spends 11 hours a day on active training and physical activity, a figure that sounds unrealistic, but for Cristiano, it's a way of life. The Portuguese's diet is a scientifically proven nutrition system developed by a personal nutritionist. 6 meals a day, every 3 to 4 hours, to maintain stable energy levels and not overload the digestive system. The basis of the diet is white fish, tuna, cod, swordfish, which are rich in protein and omega-3 fatty acids. Chicken and egg whites supplement the protein component, providing muscles with the necessary amino acids for recovery. Complex carbohydrates come from brown rice, quinoa, whole grain bread. No white bread, no pastries, no fast carbohydrates. Fresh vegetables and fruits are present in every meal: broccoli, spinach, avocado, apples, bananas. Complete abstinence from refined sugar and processed foods. No sweets, no soda, no fast food. He drinks at least 3 liters of water a day, and during training and matches, up to 5 liters, replenishing fluid loss. Alcohol is strictly forbidden. Cristiano has not drunk a drop of alcohol since 2005, when he lost his father, who died of alcoholism at 52 years old. This tragedy became a lesson for him. Alcohol kills, and he will never allow himself to repeat his father's fate. But training and diet are only half the equation. Recovery for Ronaldo is as important as exertion. For every hour of training, there must be an hour of recovery, he says, and strictly adheres to this rule. Cryotherapy, immersion in an ice bath at -160 degrees Celsius, has become his daily procedure, reducing muscle inflammation and accelerating tissue regeneration. Compression therapy improves blood circulation and removes lactic acid from muscles. Regular sauna sessions help relax and cleanse the body of toxins. Massage from a professional therapist, at least 3 times a week and before and after matches, is mandatory. But the most unusual aspect of his regimen is sleep. Cristiano does not sleep 8 consecutive hours like ordinary people, but divides his sleep into 5 short periods of 1.5 hours each throughout the day. This polyphasic sleep pattern, developed by recovery specialists, allows the body to recover as efficiently as possible between training sessions, maintaining a high energy level around the clock. To monitor sleep quality and recovery, he uses an Oura ring, a modern gadget that monitors all body indicators and suggests when to reduce load and when to work at full capacity. Ronaldo's psychological discipline is no less impressive than his physical one. He never misses training, even on vacation, even after the toughest matches. His philosophy is simple: talent without hard work is nothing. He proves these words every day, being the first to arrive at training and the last to leave the field. Teammates at Al Nassr say that the 39-year-old Portuguese trains more intensely than anyone else, making no allowances for age or status. Cristiano Ronaldo, at 40 years old, remains living proof that the human body is capable of incredible things if treated as a sacred instrument requiring constant care, attention, and respect. A footballer's greatness is measured not only by goals and assists, but also by the trophies he has won, the records he has set, and the legacy he will leave after his career ends. Cristiano Ronaldo has amassed a collection of awards that looks more like a national museum than the personal property of one man. 5 Ballon d'Or, the highest award in world football, adorn his showcase: 2008, 2013, 2014, 2016, and 2017. Only one person on the planet has more: Lionel Messi with 8 trophies, but this only emphasizes the scale of the rivalry between the 2 greatest players of the era. 4 European Golden Shoes for being the top scorer in European leagues, a record he shares with the Argentine. 3 FIFA. The best awards as the best player of the year according to the World Football Federation. 4 UEFA Best Player in Europe awards, continental recognition. These individual trophies are not just metal and plastic. They are the tangible recognition of 25 years of continuous dominance at the top of the football pyramid. But personal accolades pale in comparison to team achievements for which football exists. 34 team trophies in his career, a dizzying number. 5 Champions League titles, 1 with Manchester United in 2008, and 4 with Real Madrid in 2014, 2016, 2017, and 2018, an absolute record among players. Only Paco Gento of the legendary Real Madrid of the 1950s-60s has more European Cups, but that was a different era, a different football. Cristiano won the planet's premier club tournament in an era of globalization and incredible competition, when any team could buy any player in the world. Championships in 3 different countries: England, 3 titles with Man Ut, Spain, 2 with Real Madrid, and Italy, 2 with Juventus. Proof of his versatility and ability to adapt to any style of football. 4 Club World Cups, countless national cups and super cups. All of this adds up to a portrait of an absolute winner. But the sweetest triumph for Cristiano remains the summer of 2016, the European Championship in France, when Portugal won a continental trophy for the first time in history. The final against the tournament hosts, Ronaldo's injury in the first half, tears on a stretcher, and then an incredible 1-0 victory in extra time, where Cristiano, on crutches, shouted instructions from the sidelines, transforming from a player captain into a coach captain. This moment, when he lifted the Henri Delaunay Cup over his head, filled the main void in his career. Now no one could say that he had won nothing with the national team. Twice winner of the UEFA Nations League in 2019 and 2025, completed the collection. Ronaldo's records sound like pages from the Guinness Book. 143 goals for the Portuguese national team, an absolute world record that seems unlikely to be broken for decades. 140 goals in the Champions League, another insurmountable milestone. More than 934 goals in his entire career for clubs and national team, the best indicator in the history of official football. The first player to score in 3 Champions League finals. The first European to surpass the 100-goal mark for a national team. The top scorer in Real Madrid's history. 451 goals in 438 matches, more than a goal per game. The oldest player to score more than 30 goals in a top league season, at 39 years old in the Saudi Pro League. Each of these records is a monument to an unyielding will and professionalism. But Cristiano's greatness extends beyond the football field. In October 2025, Bloomberg announced that the Portuguese's net worth had reached $1.5 billion, making him the first active footballer billionaire in the history of sports. This sum consists of his salary at Al Nassr, €200 million per year, sponsorship contracts with Nike, Herbalife, Clear, Binance, and other brands, $65 million annually, his own CR7 business, clothing, footwear, perfume, hotels, real estate worldwide, and investments in various projects. According to Forbes, in 2025, he became the highest-paid athlete on the planet with a total income of $285 million, surpassing Messi, Neymar, Benzema, and Mbappé. But money has never been an end in itself for Ronaldo. It is merely a tool to secure his family's future and an opportunity to help those in need. Cristiano's philanthropy is a separate chapter of his biography, rarely spoken about, but one that characterizes him as a person better than any goal. Throughout his career, he has donated over $300 million to various charitable causes. He donated €1.5 million to a cancer center in Portugal that treated his mother, Dolores, for oncology. Millions went to help children in crisis zones through the Save the Children Fund. He financed the construction of hospitals, schools, and orphanages in Madeiran and impoverished regions of Africa. Cristiano refused to get tattoos for one simple reason: to regularly donate blood and help sick people in need of transfusions. Every year, he organizes charity matches and auctions of personal items, with the proceeds going to treat children with serious illnesses. His Instagram, with 648 million followers, has become a platform for raising awareness of the problems of those in need. Ronaldo remembers where he came from the slums where his mother wanted to abort him due to poverty, and he never forgets those who are now in the same situation. The story of Cristiano Ronaldo is not just a sports biography. It is an epic of transformation, of how an unplanned fourth child from the poorest district of a Portuguese island became a global icon, a billionaire, a father of 6 children, a philanthropist, and a living legend. The boy who was called the Little B for his tears and persistence became the Machine, CR7, a symbol of perfection, discipline, and unwavering self-belief. He proved that origin is not a sentence, that poverty can be overcome by hard work, that age is just a number if one treats their body as a sacred instrument. At 40 years old, Cristiano still scores goals in every match, still runs faster than 20-year-olds, still hungry for victories. His contract with Al Nassr runs until 2027, when he will be 42. Will he play after that? Will he return to Europe as rumors periodically surface about his interest in sporting? Or will he finish his career in Saudi Arabia, becoming a coach, a sporting director, a legend forever etched in the history of Arabian football? One record still beckons him, 1,000 career goals less than 70 goals away. Can he reach this mythical mark? Whatever the future holds, one thing is certain. Cristiano Ronaldo is already immortal. His name will forever remain in the textbooks of football history, alongside Pelé, Maradona, Di Stefano, Messi. The CR7 Museum in Madeiran will be visited by millions of tourists wanting to touch the legend. His children will tell their grandchildren what their grandfather was like. And millions of boys from poor families around the world will look at the photo of that 5-year-old child from Santo Antonio and understand, dreams come true if you are willing to work for them every day, never give up, and believe in yourself even when the whole world tells you that you are not good enough. Cristiano Ronaldo is not just a footballer. He is a symbol that a person can become anything if they have a dream and the heart of a champion.